Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? And it's great to meet you.
Thank you. Likewise. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So, first thing, I'm going to go
I
here.
apologize for the delay. I was having a little bit of technical issues with
Yeah,
my
yeah,
air.
yeah. Oh, no, no, no. You good. You good. Um, we are going live. So, I mean, if anything happens, we just kind of roll with it. Uh,
Sweet.
so, take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests with your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all, and thank you all for tuning in as we are streaming live once again, live on Facebook, streaming live on Instagram, and streaming live on LinkedIn. So, welcome to all three platforms. And as always, go to my YouTube channel. It is the Kinetic Hour, and that is Kinetic, Kennetic. And also go to my Rumble channel of the same name, the Kinetic Hour, and go to Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info for everything health related, health, spiritual wellness, emotional, and physical and psychological. So go to my YouTube channels and subscribe. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to all the subscribers. As always, click thumbs up, click the notifications. Tell everyone that you know to tune into the Kinetic Hour. Leave your comments. Tell everyone that you know to leave comments regarding the comments so we can remain in the YouTube algorithms. YouTube algorithms. So once again, thank you all. As I always say, whether it's one person listening and watching or 1,000 people listening and watching, it doesn't matter because my voice will continue to permeate. So I'm always grateful for everyone that listens into the Kinetic Hour. And as you can see, my guest today, and I'm glad she's here. I'm gonna read her bio here. She's a holistic nutritionist, integrative health coach, and holistic health practitioner, specializing in preventative, functional, or root cause medicine, as well as orthomolecular medicine. She embarked on her holistic journey, beginning and successfully completing her formal education at the prestigious Goyetche Institute, located in New Brunswick, Shediac, Canada. She's also a beekeeper and part of the Southwest Florida Beekeeping Association. She's collaborated with renowned holistic pharmacies like Quicksilver Scientific, Pure Encapsulations, US Enzymes, Master Supplements, and others, offering a range of therapeutic protocols tailored to clients in order to address various and specific illnesses and conditions. She also specializes in quantum biofeedback, also known as bioresonance. Her approach is rooted in beliefs that true healing is multidimensional, encompassing nutrition, emotional, and spiritual well being, blending cutting edge science with ancient healing practices to help her clients restore balance in mind, body, and soul. She's the founder of the Goddesses of Healing and the host of the Health Honey podcast. So let's welcome to the Kinetic Hour, Valerie Cabrera.
Hello,
Valerie.
all. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. Thank you for having me on. I'm so excited to be here. This is so wonderful. So, thank you for taking the time.
Yes, and thank you for giving us your time as well. And thank you for volunteering to come on the show, um, as we've been kind of back and forth over several months, and
Yep.
admiring each other's zest for health and wellness.
Yep.
So thank you for that. Uh, the first thing, and as we get started here, I have a one, two, three, 3.5 sets of notes here. So,
Oh,
um,
okay.
so as time permits, we can see if we can kind of touch on a little bit of everything. Um, but the first thing I want to do is just go over how you got started on this journey into health and wellness. What was the kickoff or the jump start for you? What got you into not only health and wellness, but holistic and natural health and wellness?
So I used to study conventional medicine. And then back in 2021, I had a pretty chronic health issue. And long story short, I realized that there was more to the human body than what we were told. So pretty much what had happened to me was um, I developed a condition where my eyes were not linear. So for about 3 months, I couldn't see. Quite literally, my family would give me like my vitamins over here, and I would pick them up over here. Like I couldn't see, right? So that was pretty nerve wracking, pretty scary issue for me, given that we use our eyes all the time, right? Like the Chinese say, it is the window to the soul in
Yeah.
traditional Chinese medicine. So that was pretty scary for me. I spent about 3 months like that, and then interestingly enough, through education and proper nourishment and rest and just things like physical activity and supplementation, I was able to bring myself back to a state of health. I was able to restore my health just by doing something as simple as that. And shortly after, I also started to suffer from pretty chronic migraines. And I started to actually work with an integrative holistic practitioner who's a good friend of mine still. And together we worked through nutrition and lifestyle recommendations that she had made and changes that I had to implement. And again, it was just after that, it was just like a total game changer for me. Like I always say, especially now, health and wellness is it's a journey. It's not a destination. It is a lifestyle. So it's quite beautiful that I was able to do that. And obviously, when you're stuck in those moments, you don't really when you're stuck in those dark moments, you don't really realize how advantaged we are, how privileged we are to have something as simple as our arms, our feet, our eyesight. And I feel like that was definitely a reality check for me. I also, at the time before that, I was modeling, and I had a pretty serious eating condition, an eating disorder, and which is actually why I decided to get into nutrition too, because I kind of wanted to harmonize that relationship with food. And yeah, like I said, it's just been a very transformative experience for me all around. But that's a little bit about me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people, I've always said that we do take our bodies for granted, you know. Um, I mean, we abuse the bejesus out of it, you know,
Unfortunately.
with our dietary habits, which we'll kind of deep dive into in just a few. Um, and you're right, it is a journey, not a destination. Health is an ongoing learning experience, you know, and it never stops. I mean, for those that uh, take some kind of concern and interest for their health, it's a journey. And no matter what level you get to, there's always more that you can get to.
Yep.
And so that's one thing that I've learned and have embraced, that as much as I do know, that there's always more to know. You know, there's always more to learn. There's always more to there's always more to or information to get from others.
Mhm.
And so, you know, and it is a destination. And I'm glad that, or I'm glad that you got over your conditions, and now you're on this path of not only recovery, but just longevity and health. So, uh, first thing I want to do, so we're all on the same page, I want to go over just a couple of fundamentals real quick, if we can. As I read in your bio, uh, you specialize in what's called orthomolecular medicine.
Yep.
So can you give us how you define orthomolecular medicine? What's the definition? How do you define it?
So it's pretty much a natural form of medicine, and what it does is it helps to restore the human body to a state of homeostasis, right? So it brings it back to balance. And then the way that this happens is it basically focuses on restoring balance in the body by using nutrients that are already native to it, right? So we're talking minerals, we're talking vitamins, we're talking herbs, enzymes, things like this. So it's very it's a very transformative thing, and it's rooted in the idea that the body has its own innate wisdom, right? It can heal itself if given the proper nourishment, the proper lifestyle, the proper conditions. So it's a very beautiful thing, that's for sure. And the way it works is it's also mainly done in therapeutic doses, right? So this started many, many moons ago, many years ago. It was adopted by homeopathy, but it's not really homeopathy. And funny enough, like I said, it's rooted in the idea that most disease stems from biochemical imbalances, if that makes any sense. So things as mainly nutritional deficiencies, and things like that. So I actually love this approach because pretty much helps to bridge science and nature without having to depend on synthetic solutions and a really corrupt and failed medical system. But if you ask me, that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, actually, I can have you back for that. Because that is a whole nother hour that we can talk about the health system
Oh
and
yeah.
and how it's been operating and why America is one of the sickest countries on the planet. Um, and as far as orthomolecular, I was kind of looking up a few things last night. I actually looked it up in my dictionary that I have. Actually,
Nice.
uh, the orthomolecular looks like it started back in 1968 through Dr. Linus Pauling, who I've talked about on this show a few times. He won 2 Nobel Prizes in health for what's called megadosing with
Yep.
vitamin C,
Vitamin C.
and he was well known for that uh, back in that era of health and wellness. So orthomolecular medicine, as you were just explaining here, a philosophy of medicine that holds that disease, especially mental illness, is curable by restoring normal body chemistry. Like you said, what we already have and what the body already knows about how it can heal itself when given the right fuel. When given the
Right.
right fuel. You know, you can't put diesel fuel in an economy car, and
Exactly.
and you can't put economy fuel in a diesel truck. It won't work. So
100%.
the the body has to have uh, nutrients or minerals, if you will, or the elements that it can recognize as an energy source. So with that, I'm going to put this on the screen because you just touched on something right here. And I'm going to put this up here because you mentioned and talked uh, about what creates certain illnesses and disease here. So right here, disease doesn't, and by the way, all these posts that I'm going to put up are directly from things that you've put up that I found kind of interesting.
Yes.
So, um, so right here, and I'm just going to read it right here. Disease doesn't start with poor blood work. Disease starts with, and as you can see in no specific order, poor sleep, unhealthy eating behaviors, which we'll get to in just a sec, low libido, slow digestion, dehydration, which is huge, lack of social connections, which is another one that's never talked about, painful periods, daily fatigue, stiff joints, people pleasing, which is another one that's rarely
Having no
discussed.
boundaries.
Right. Nutrient deficiencies, emotional trauma, thinning hair, and frequent infections. So when we have, and there's many more, but these are very specific in, I guess, more common causes of illness. So with that, I'm going to put this next one up on the screen here because it'll kind of set the tone for where we're going to go with the interview. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here.
Yes, and I
So right
actually
here,
also,
yes,
I
yes,
wanted to add,
yes.
it's funny that you mentioned this because this is something that I also have in my notes. But the
Mhm.
reason why I also like this approach to the orthomolecular medicine is because it basically proves that we are not machines. You know, we are infinite beings. We need connection, we need nature, we need laughter, music, and other small pockets of joy in order to thrive and live a happy and fulfilling life, really. So it's interesting that you just touched on that for sure.
Yeah, yeah. All the little things that we take for granted, the joy, the walks in the park, the time with your friends and family, the time with your children, just the little things, the connections, the acquaintances, all those little things matter. All the small parts create the collective whole. So,
100%.
so I'm going to go back to this here because again, this is going to start the conversation here. And this is from a question that was proposed to ChatGPT, and I've used this AI system on a few occasions. So the question proposed: if you were the devil and wanted to keep an entire nation sick, what would you do? And so, and because this is not a religious show, but the devil, we can kind of equate it to people in the industry, food and health industry, that have um, bad intentions against the general public.
Yep.
And so right here, this first one here, promote ultra processed food, fill shelves with cheap addictive garbage, sugar loaded, seed oil packed, nutrient empty junk, market it as fun and convenient. So with that, uh, this right here is going to be the first thing that we can kind of deep dive into, because when I saw this, uh, I looked at it and I'm like, okay, this right here, this is from the Guardian headline: ultra processed food increases risk of early death, international studies find. So what do you say is the problem with the what we call the standard American diet, and uh, what should we consider when we indulge in what we call ultra processed food? What should we be on the lookout for?
So, as a nutritionist, we always try to stay away from processed sugars, seed oils, anything that is white or refined, and that can equate to carbs. The thing with the standard American diet is that there is little to no nutritional value, right? It's very low also in healthy fats. So it's pretty much supporting the promotion of unhealthy fats. And then that's not even to mention the fact that there's additives, fillers, binders, all these types of synthetic and I guess you can say lab made ingredients As for the post, yes, I made that post a few weeks back, and I always think to myself, like I just said, in regards to the corrupt medical system, the conventional medical system, there is no money in healthy people, and there is no money in dead people. So what do? They keep you right in the middle, sick. That's where they thrive. That's where they profit. No, seriously, we're talking about a system that isn't looking for our best interests, and that's why it's important for ourselves, for us to be able to navigate with the information that we do have, and to be able to, always ask questions and do our own research and kind of just look for our best interest always. So the standard American diet, yes, like I said, high in sugar. They promote seed oils. They actually tell you that it's heart healthy, which we already know that it is actually, in fact, not. It's, like I said, quite unfortunate. And then that's not even to mention the ultra processed foods. They create them nutrient void, addictive, artificial, all of that. And it's kind of interesting too, because it's almost designed to override and disconnect us from our nature and from our natural hunger cues. It pretty much strips away the life force of food, or like those that practice traditional Chinese medicine like to say, the qi. It strips away the qi of the food, and it's pretty much, it really just comes down to ancestral eating versus industrial eating, right? Ancestral nutrition versus industrial nutrition. Anything that's grown in the sun, and then things that are more lab or man-made. So holistically though, when we talk about ultra processed foods and the standard American diet, it's weakening our gut health, which, as we know, because Hippocrates said it many moons ago, food is medicine, and all disease starts in the gut. So it weakens the gut. It causes hormonal imbalances, which are actually leading to infertility, which is something that's becoming very big nowadays, and it's quite concerning if you ask me. It's not surprising at all. And then it weakens the immune system, the immune's resilience, and almost all aspects of cognition, because it creates everything from brain fog to lack of mental clarity to headaches, migraines, all of that. So I think that replacing the ultra processed foods and the standard American diet with whole nourishing foods, or whole nourishing options, helps us to truly thrive. And I always say it. I actually made a post about this recently. It says, every bite of food you take either fights disease or feeds it. The choice is always on your hands.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny that you bring up infertility, because my next show coming up is with a fertility specialist from Australia. And so that's going to be an interesting conversation. But you're right, you're right about how the medical system likes to keep us in limbo, just enough to keep us alive, to fall into their Black Widow spiderweb trap of just being above okay, just being above okay. All the processed food, and then all the medications that are administered as well. Again, not to get you well, but just to manage. That's the definition, or that's the wording or verbiage that they use. We don't want to necessarily heal you or cure you. We just want to manage your symptoms so that you'll have it for the rest of your life, so you can be a consistent customer forever, for the rest of your life.
Yep, exactly.
And so the processed food, white sugar, white salt, white rice, most white rice, not all, and white flour as well, which all of them are highly processed, because in nature none of them are that color anyway.
Exactly.
So we really have to kind of consider doing something different, or going back to a quote whole food type of a diet. And if you still want to eat certain parts of the processed food, that's fine. You could start out doing maybe a 60-40, and then you increase it, or progress into a 70-30 diet. And
Right.
then as you progress more, you can turn it into a 80-20 diet. 80-20 meaning 80% more healthy
Healthy.
food. And then if you want to indulge in your ice cream and cake and the amusement park goodies, and you're going to the state fair and all this stuff, then have at it and enjoy it, because your body will metabolize it much better than it would if you were to eat it and then you're coming down on yourself because, oh, I shouldn't have ate it. you know
Right. And that's actually where the emotional component comes into food. Sometimes restricting or depriving yourself actually does more harm than what it does good. It's quite interesting.
Right. That's right.
Um and yeah, quite literally.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely plays a role. And you mentioned you mentioned gut health. So, and like you said, everything kind of falls into place, because I think it's right here. So, you talked about gut health, and I'm going to put this up on the screen here. So, why is gut health so important when it comes to the food that we eat, whether it's processed or raw? What role does gut health and digestion play in overall health, in our general health?
Okay, so I wanted to go back to what you had previously just said, just because I wanted to add one more
Yeah,
thing though.
yeah.
Looking at it as a holistic health practitioner, we assess the root cause of the disease instead of looking at the condition and symptom management, which is like what we were just talking about, what most medical doctors and medical science experts do.
Yeah.
However, the gut is basically the second brain, right? It holds about 70 to 80% of our immune system.
Yeah.
So, yes, the brain, the gut, and the heart are all connected. Actually, 90% of the serotonin, of our serotonin, is created in the gut. So, this is clearly not only where digestion takes place.
That's right.
And I feel like that's a very common misconception. Everyone just thinks that your stomach is, it's just where you digest food. But no, there's a lot that
Right.
there's a lot that's going on in there. And it is the foundation for immunity, emotional regulation, hormonal regulation, mental clarity. We're still talking about the gut, by the way. So
Yes.
when I say emotional regulation, you have to remember that sugars and certain toxins or things that we eat become toxins that then can affect the way that we perceive life, the way that we perceive ourselves, the way that we feel. Right. So that's why I say that. And it all really comes down to the gut brain axis. But before that, I did want to mention that a damaged gut lining equates to poor digestion, which then equals poor absorption, which then equals to poor overall health. And this all causes everything from skin issues to inflammatory diseases like migraines, arthritis, neurological diseases, you name it. And like I said, I really love what I do for a living because it really just shows you that we are a part of nature. We are nature, really. We're a
Yeah.
mirror
Yeah.
of nature, and it's
Yeah.
a very beautiful thing.
Yeah.
As for the gut brain axis, the gut brain axis is, in case some of you do not know, I'm going to get into it right now, but it's a biochemical and neurological communication network that connects the enteric nervous system, which is the one in the gut, with the central nervous system, so the one in our brain. And all of this operates through the nervous system, through the vagus nerve, I'm sorry. And, neurotransmitters, our immune system, our hormones, you name it. So when we nurture our digestion with whole foods that are fermented, we thoroughly chew our food, It's actually recommended that you chew your food anywhere between 25 to 30 times before you swallow. This also helps to create a almost meditative experience with food, and it kind of also helps to shift you into a parasympathetic state. So if you know anything about sympathetic and parasympathetic state, it's pretty much the difference between being fight or flight or being in a rest and digest state. So we want to always be in the rest and digest state. We don't want to be in survival mode. It's actually one of the issues, or one of the main causes of disease also, is being in that stressful state. So as you can see, everything is very connected.
Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful thing. Gut health is essential, and it's truly root level medicine, if you ask me.
Yeah. And as I put this back up, as you just mentioned, chew your food at least 30 times, which many people don't do. We're always in a rush. We're rushing out the door to get to work. We taking our food with us. We're eating in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And again, when your body is trying to digest food under stress, the breakdown doesn't complete itself, or the breakdown is never completed. The breakdown is never completed. So right here above chewing your food, you have begin larger meals with a bitter salad or apple cider vinegar.
The
So
bitters.
the bitters, right? So and I've been, over the years, I've been kind of back and forth with apple cider vinegar, but it it does have its benefits. So, and I use it. I actually had some last night. So
Awesome.
um so yeah, I have my apple cider vinegar. I've been taking it off and on for years now. We're talking maybe 15 years now. Um
Good.
and so real quick, before we go on to the next thing, give us some of the benefits of apple cider vinegar as you know it.
So remember, anything that is, I guess you can say sour, is
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah,
for our stomach, and vice
yeah,
versa.
yeah,
So the apple cider vinegar acts as like a toner, I guess you can say, for your stomach, for the gut.
yeah.
And before meals, it's kind of like waking up and having a warm lemon water, right?
Mm,
It makes your body more alkaline. Um, Helps you to digest your food, can help with your skin health, helps with blood sugar support, things like that. So, like I said, anything that is usually bitter is actually sweet to your stomach, and
yeah,
vice
yeah, yeah,
versa,
yeah.
according to traditional Chinese medicine, which I actually do. I follow a lot. I love.
Mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and what else was I gonna say? In terms of gut health and holistic habits, I will say that prebiotics are important, probiotics are important. Fermented foods, I feel like, are even more important. Thoroughly chewing your food, like what we were just discussing, and
Yeah,
then thanking your food before you eat it, things like that.
yeah.
Um, but the prebiotics are the live beneficial bacteria that are introduced to our body to support the microbiome, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
think of them as like the good guys that help us, help our mood and digestion and immunity and all that jazz. And then
mm-hmm.
you have the probiotics, which are pretty much the food for the prebiotics. And then
Right,
they're just
right.
non-digestible fibers and compounds, and feeds the probiotics and helps them grow and thrive, right? So it helps cultivate a very healthy gut microbiome, a very healthy gut flora, for
Mm-hmm.
the most part. So yeah.
And before we move on, right here in the corner about hydration, there's been a lot of back and forth over the years about, should we drink water before our meal? Should we drink water during our meal? Or should we drink water after our meal? Uh,
Mhm.
what do you suggest?
So this is a tough one, Kenan, but really, because everyone is different,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, personally, it depends. It depends. It depends on what works for you. This is also where bioindividuality comes in because everyone is different, like I just said. So what may be one person's poison is another person's treasure, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Mm-hmm.
personally like to have my liquids after. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're like eating and you're kind of like having a rough time there, yeah, you might want to have some water, right? Some liquid. But for the most part, if you can wait until the end, do it just because you won't put your digestive system in a shock. And that's pretty much what happens when you're having warm food, whether you just cooked it or you microwaved it, which I'm not a fan of the microwaves, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah,
But
I haven't used a microwave in probably 2 decades. So
same, it's been
I'm with
quite a
you.
long time for
Yeah.
me as well.
Yeah.
But whether you're microwaving the food or you just cooked it, again, that food is warm and the liquid is usually either room temp or like ice water, ice cold. So that kind of puts your digestive system in like a little bit of a shock. So I will say to have that after. That's at least what I do. That's what works for me. Same thing with my coffee. In the morning, I always do my warm lemon water. I have my breakfast and then I have my coffee. But I don't do my warm lemon water with my breakfast and I don't do my coffee with my breakfast. I have them at separate times. I try to have them all before 11 a.m. But sometimes you know how life can be.
Ah, right. Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
so you could
Nothing's
do
ever
the
gonna beat
bitters. Go ahead.
nothing's ever gonna be to such the perfection. So I get
Right.
it.
Right. And you can do the apple cider vinegar, a little shot right before. And like I said, this helps with blood sugar support, weight management, believe it or not. It can actually even help lower your cholesterol depending on the case. And it has a very high antioxidant activity. So it will be beneficial for your body due to the antioxidants. And then I'm also a very big fan of lemon water, whether you have it warm or not, or you're just sipping it throughout the day. It doesn't necessarily always have to be in the morning. I like to do it in the morning just because I like to start my day like that for gut health. But I also have friends and clients that do it throughout the day. And that's what they sip on for the rest of the day. And that also works wonders because it's great for your enzymes. So
Hmm.
again,
Hmm.
we're going back to gut health. It's great for the enzymes, great for the stomach, great for the gut. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, yeah. Apple cider vinegar. It also helps for those that that have what's called acid reflux or heartburn, because we with the processed food that we eat, it kind of depletes our hydrochloric acid in the
Mm-hmm.
stomach. So taking a shot of apple cider vinegar before you eat puts that acid there so it can kind of go to work on whatever food that you're about to eat. Um, and also the gut lining has these little straw looking
The
things called
junctions,
villi, you know,
right?
and which a lot of people don't realize. This is why chewing your food is essential. It just makes it easier for the body to absorption, or makes the food more bioavailable, and so you get more out of what you eat,
Right.
and so all of that is great with the with digestion and gut health, probiotics, prebiotics, eating the darkest green leafy foods possible, green leaf lettuce, or even red leaf lettuce. Any of those are great to add to your what's called your friendly flora, the good bacteria that helps in the digestive process. Because like you were mentioning about water, drinking water before or during, the body has to make a choice of what's going to be the easiest thing to digest, that's going to exhaust the least amount of energy. So
Exactly.
so it's going to go after the liquefied stuff first before this giant, all this heavy stuff that you have in your system,
Right.
because the body wants to go through point A to point B with the least resistance possible, you know?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And
100%.
so yeah, gut health is definitely important. So the next thing I want to go
Wait, no,
into,
I wanted to
yes,
add one more
yes,
thing.
yeah,
So, since I'm going to give you a little bit of a visual since we're live,
yeah,
but it's funny because the gut is actually it's supposed to be like this, right? It's
mm-hmm,
supposed to be closed. When it is like this is where you have all the toxins that come in and out, you know, the vitamins that are not really being, like you said, they're not bioavailable, so they're not being properly absorbed. You want it to be like this. You want it to
mm-hmm,
be sealed. Your gut has to be sealed in order for it to be healthy. If it is
mm-hmm,
not, then that is considered a damaged gut lining, and that is actually where food sensitivities come in. Poor digestion, poor absorption, like what we were just discussing, and then overall that leads to poor health, you know, skin issues and all that jazz. So
not only that, but also it can create ulcers and irritable bowel syndrome,
mm-hmm.
um, you know, diverticulitis, all of these different um, all of these digestive conditions that can, like you said in the beginning, they can be easily remedied by just changing a few things, either adding certain supplements to your dietary habit or eating certain foods and adding that to your diet until you get comfortable enough to start to uh, eat a little bit healthier to enhance gut health versus depleting
Yes.
everything that's in your gut lining, because once
Yes.
you start to erode your gut lining, all that backed up food starts to squeeze through your gut and it goes into your bloodstream. Then the bloodstream is sludged,
And
and now you
it's
got
all circulating.
it's all circulating. That's right,
Yep.
from head to toe, from head to
Yep.
toe.
And
So
it's
for
mainly the
people,
toxins.
that's
Mm-hmm.
right. So for people that have diabetes and have poor circulation in their legs, or for those that start to have what's called brain fog, it's because all this toxic stuff has penetrated through your colon walls or small intestinal walls, and now it's in your blood. Like I showed at the beginning of the broadcast about the
Yep.
blood and how the blood is sludged full of stuff, like what I'm going to bring to the table right now, and we can talk about it. And this is one of the things that, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first things that let's see, where's that picture? So I'm going to go here. So one of the things that I first, I think I first saw you were talking about food dyes, and one of the main advocates of taking food dyes out, her name is Vanny, uh, or is
Hurry.
it Vanny Hari?
Yep.
The
That's
food
food
babe,
babe.
the
Yep.
food babe.
I
And
remember her.
yes, and she was one of the people that I saw, and then I saw you make similar comments along uh, with uh, with what was being discussed as far as food dyes is concerned in certain packaged products like cereal.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's been going on this crusade. I think she went to the Kellogg's Corporation in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
So, um, tell us the differences. Uh, because why, or my question is, why should we eat more colorful foods, and how do they differ with artificial colors?
Okay, so the idea is that nature colors its food for a reason, right? And we're talking about real colors versus artificial colors, right? So, pretty much to slim it down as simple as possible, it comes down to two things: God made versus man made,
Okay.
right? So, the colorful hues of the fruits and veggies represent You know, everything from phytonutrients to amino acids to antioxidants to minerals and enzymes and all that jazz, as well as other healing compounds, of course. So the way I like to say it and think of it is, think about the foods that are grown under the sunlight, right? Think about photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis, right? How plants make their own food using sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, right? And really, this is the foundation for life on Earth, the foundation to life on Earth. So, like I said, think about the foods that are grown under the sun, the foods that come from our earth. Everything from, like you said, the leafy greens, which are extremely high in folate. Leafy greens, your fruits, your vegetables, your rooty vegetables like ginger, your pumpkins, things like that. All coated. These are all coated with nutrients, minerals, electrolytes, enzymes, you name it. Then we have the artificial colors, right?
Yeah.
Man-made, lab-made for the most part. And interestingly enough, they are made with petroleum-based chemicals, in case you didn't know, which are all linked to hyperactivity, hormone disruption, endocrine disruptors, you know, neurotoxicities, inflammation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the food babe, Vani Harry, love her. She was actually a teacher. She had a segment at my school. I actually went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition based out of New York. And she had a segment there talking about, you know, being a health advocate, which is really what she does. That's why you said that she went to Kellogg's. She and a few others actually from my school went over there and demanded, you know, to know what is being given. Because interestingly enough, which I think this is absurd, cereals, something as simple as cereals. The cereals are so high in heavy metals, so high in sugar. And these heavy metals are linked to so many different types of behavioral issues, especially among the young, especially in children. And this is what we're feeding our children, right? Because like you said, it's convenient, it's quick, it's fun. And it's very misleading. But like I said, we live in a world where a lot of people are just not looking for our best interests, and it's really quite unfortunate. So I always like to say, you know, eat the rainbow, but from real whole sources, foods that are grown under the sunlight. And when we choose these colors, like the greens, the reds, like you had just posted, and the purples, we're not just making our plate pretty, we're feeding our body messages of vitality, restoration, repair, balance. And so it pretty much just, like I said, comes down to ancestral nutrition and then the industrial nutrition. So ancestral nutrition, just think about the hunters and gatherers, right? The foods that our ancestors would eat back in their time. What was it? Think biblical foods, think real foods, the foods that are the ingredient. You know, as aforementioned, think foods that need sunlight in order to grow, think photosynthesis. And then industrial foods, like I said, foods that are normally lab made, very nutrient depleted, no photosynthesis, have little to no nutritional value, and are considered overly processed, ultra processed, and obviously are just not grown under the sun. So that's definitely that. And it's quite beautiful though, because we live in a world that thinks of our bodies as a machine, and we thrive in things like rest, community, nourishment, proper nourishment, right? So I just think it's very how can I say this? Every bite of food that we take is pretty much either upgrading or downgrading our body,
That's
right?
right.
It's like codes. Are you going to feed it junk codes, or are you going to feed it healthy, light codes, if you
Yeah.
will?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah. All the food that grows out of the earth has information stored in it. And that information is to give us the energy source that's needed as according to the part of the body, because every part of the body has a different frequency unto itself.
Exactly.
And there are different colors, if you will, that correspond accordingly. And you mentioned sunlight, and we all of us should know by now that the sun is essential for growth of everything on this planet.
For our
Uh,
health.
sunlight, yes, sunlight, water, the essential stuff that that are needed for life. Sunlight, water, and nutrient-rich soil, and
Oh, yeah.
also they heighten our chakra system, our chakra system. And so sunlight, and I have these because we're going to go to sunlight next. I have these glasses here. This one right here, and I wear these from time to time. I wear these out in the sun. So if I want to heighten my chakras,
I love it.
I can put these glasses on and go out into the sun. Like today, it's a pretty nice sunny day out here in Southern California. So I can put these on and heighten. These are the orange, which is the second chakra. So if I want to heighten my second chakra, I go here. I put up the red fruits. So if I want to heighten my root chakra, I put these on.
I love it. That's awesome.
So red, if I want to heighten my root chakra, I put these on, go outside, let the sun penetrate, and that color absorbs into the body and heightens the energy vortex of the root chakra.
Most
These are
definitely.
these are our invisible energies that are rarely discussed in the mainstream.
Oh,
But for
yeah.
those that are into holistic health or more natural health or even Chinese or Oriental medicine, um, these right here, these are something that the people may want to consider at least consider. So real quick, because we're gonna I'm gonna bring up one more thing, and then we're gonna get to your specialty, which is honey. So I'm gonna go here real quick, and so as we go into sun exposure, what are the benefits of sunlight for us as human beings, and when is the ideal time to go out and absorb the sunlight?
So, the sun, the best time for sunlight, in my opinion, is before 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. However, I actually recently saw a study that said that between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. is also good. But it's like you said, the sun is essential to our health in all aspects, right? You
Yeah.
literally have plants that modify their structure just to find the light, right?
hmm hmm
So, my opinion, I actually don't use any type of sunscreen or anything because, like I just said, I think it's wonderful for your health. Obviously, though, in moderation because you don't want to get burned. But
Yeah.
I do think it's important, and I always try to get my morning light. So morning light before 10:30 a.m. What this does is that it actually helps set and regulate your circadian rhythms. So helps you regulate your sleep cycle. It helps to regulate the CAR, right? So the cortisol awakening response, and also helps to boost the serotonin, which, like I said, 90% of it is
Comes from the gut.
designed. Your gut, correct. So you could do that, and then that's morning light. You could also do midday light, which is pretty much natural vitamin D synthesis. And this, both of them, just sunlight in general, helps to nourish the mitochondria. Just as grounding, just as much as grounding. Grounding is wonderful for your DNA, for your mitochondria, which is the powerhouses in your cells. So we're talking on a cellular level now.
Right.
And the light in general, sunlight aids in hormone regulation, mood elevation. It can help boost your mood, immune function. It has so many benefits. And actually, I believe we're designed to live in rhythm with the sun, not fluorescent lights, if you ask me.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. The fluorescent, especially fluorescent lights or black lights. Um, uh, what's called oh gosh, it escapes me right now, but there are lights that kind of mimic the sun that you can purchase. They can be a lot more expensive, but they don't give off that incandescent energy or frequency,
Right.
that might be in your flat screen televisions, the blue lights, and
The blue light.
you're just getting blasted, unless you have some kind of frequency, like one of these things that I have on my headphones that absorb those frequencies. But as you can see here, improves vitamin D levels and reduces inflammation, improves immune function. As you mentioned, activates mitochondrial activity.
Melatonin production. Yep.
Yes, improves nitric oxide, which is huge, supports tissue oxidation, which that's a whole nother subject that we can go into.
Oh yeah.
The muscle tissues and the lack of oxygen. Improves cellular energy and supports health skin microbiome. The sun releases various ultraviolet, infrared, and red light frequencies, which I just showed a minute ago, that all have a beneficial impact on immune modulation and mitochondrial energy production when your eyes and skin are exposed. So again, the sun, it's essential, it's needed, it's necessary, it's there for a reason. And as far as sunscreen is concerned, for anyone that believes or feels that they need to use any type of sunscreen, I always suggest for people to use either raw coconut oil or even an extra virgin olive oil, because your body will recognize it as a food source. So even when you're under the sunlight, your body knows how to absorb it and utilize it, so it can produce the vitamin D and feed your skin cells as well.
I was going to say that, so thank you for bringing that up. Your largest organ is, in fact, your skin.
Yes.
So your skin is pretty much breathing, right? Everything in us is comprised of cells, including your skin. Yes.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah. And we know that the skin is alive because we have what's called pores that open and close like little mouths, to release perspiration when it gets too hot, and then to keep us cool and insulated. Then the pores close when the cold weather hits. So the skin, or what's called the integumentary system, so the skin, it is our largest organ, and it is alive. And sunscreen is probably the worst thing we can put on our skin. Not just because of the 50 ingredients that make up sunscreen, but also on a hot summer day. It's summertime right now. So for those that go out to the beach and lather themselves up with sunscreen, just know that all those chemicals that are in the sunscreen are literally boiling under your skin. and then people start to get lesions and skin rashes and all sorts of other skin cancer as a worst case scenario.
Yes.
So
Also,
all of these things matter. So I always recommend, if you feel that you want to go out into the sun, and for those of us that have been thoroughly conditioned to believe that the sun gives us skin cancer, use coconut oil on your skin. And it'll keep your skin looking young and supple as well at the same time.
most definitely. I actually recently saw something. I don't know if you know who Dr. Paul Salandino is.
I've heard the name. Yeah.
So he's become very popular. I actually think he's working with Vani, with the Food Babe. But long story short, he actually made a video not too long ago on how to create your own edible sunscreen with some tallow, some coconut oil, and a few other ingredients. But
Yeah.
I thought it was very interesting. Like, you know, to each his own. If you think that you need sunscreen, you do you. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you can definitely do that. It's just you could do it in a not so toxic or conventional way. Obviously, like you said, the conventional sunscreens have about 50 plus ingredients. And I think that that's just insane. Like I said, plants literally modify their structure to be able to find the sunlight. And here we are trying to hide from it. It's
Right.
quite interesting, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah. Many people are fearful, if you will, to go out into the sunlight. Oh, I can't be under the sun. And, they put the shades on, and which is fine. But again, the sun is designed to be absorbed through the eyes, and through the skin as well.
Yep.
And through the skin as well. So yes, the sun is essential, not only for us as human beings, but also for plant life, herb life. The trees won't grow without sunlight. It needs that. It needs that energy source, the energy source that the sun brings, the solar rays. It has to have that. You know, Nothing can grow without sunlight, water, and the elements of the earth. Is just what it is.
Yep. It's the
and there is
foundation of life.
and there is no way around it. you know.
It is what it is,
Uh,
but it's a very beautiful thing if you ask me, Kenan, because like I said, it just shows you how connected everything is, how interconnected everything is, and how close we are with nature, that we are basically a representation of it. We are a mirror of it.
yeah.
And if you really think about it, I recently had posted this too, and it was a walnut in comparison to the brain. Looks very similar. You know, a carrot, if you look at a carrot and you cut it, it looks just like an eye. So
right.
it's like, it's very, it's a very beautiful thing to see how much we are. The only thing is that we've kind of lost our connection. Yes, that's the post. Thank you for bringing it up. I love it. Yes.
yes.
So
Yes.
it's a very beautiful thing that we are a part of nature. The only thing that's not so beautiful is that we have actually lost our way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we've been disconnected from it in a way that is almost beyond human comprehension. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's quite unfortunate, and it's crazy because you tell this to many individuals and they'll tell you that you're crazy, you know?
Right.
And it's like, just, you know, do a little bit of research and you'll see. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, it's very beautiful. But I also wanted to go back into what you said about the sun taking in, or like our skin and our eyes taking in the sun and the sunlight. I wanted to bring this up because this is something very common that a lot of people do. They wake up and the first thing they do is check their phone. What are
right.
you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are letting in fluorescent synthetic light into your eyes
Yeah.
before you allow natural light into
Yeah.
your eyes.
Yeah.
And like what we were just talking about, sunlight is literally the foundation for life on Earth. It's essential. That's why things like seasonal depression exist, you know, because without the sunlight, you do become down and a little depressed, and it does totally affect your mood. So whoever
Yes.
thinks that the sun is not essential to not just plants, but life, like our life on
Yeah.
Earth, has got it all wrong. You know, that's just not the case. It definitely is important for everything.
Yes, it is. Yeah, the sun is definitely taken for granted. We don't give the sun the credit that it deserves, being one of the ultimate energy sources. You know, some people do what's called dry fasting and things of this nature, where all they do is take in energy from the ether and the sun energy, and some people can live off of that. You know, the sun is that damn powerful. You know, final thing before we go to honey, I just want you to touch on this briefly, because there's been this big shift in uh, what products are packaged in. Now, back in the day, glass was used for to package damn near everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so as time goes on, as we got into the late 80s and early 90s, many major corporations started turning to plastic over over glass, putting their products in glass bottles versus plastic. So now it's the total opposite. Most products are put in plastic bottles versus glass.
Oh yeah.
So, what are the why should people consider going back to glass glass contained products, and what is the problem or the challenge with plastic products or plastic containers?
So you have to realize, Kenan, that the reason that there was such a switch is because, like I said, a lot of these big corporations don't care about people like you and I, right? So it's cheaper. It gives them more bang for their buck, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, though, these contains BPA's and phthalates, which especially when they're heated, like
Yeah.
the little black containers where you heat up your food and stuff like that. This one
Hmm.
is a ketchup, but I think you know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, you know, when you heat those up, you're basically taking in toxins, you're taking in endocrine disruptors, and you're also heating up that you're heating up that food or whatever it is, and it's all of those toxins and chemicals, all of that is leaching onto your food, and then like the microplastics, and quite unfortunately that's literally what you're eating.
Yeah.
Same thing with those little coffee capsules,
Right.
you know, the
Yeah.
small coffee capsules, which a lot of people are a fan of, because again, easy, convenient.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're literally putting in hot water there, and what are you doing? Taking in all of those microplastics. No, seriously,
Right. Oh
it's
yeah.
things that it's things that you don't really realize, but in functional medicine, you the whole point is to kind of lower the toxin load. That is one of the things that I focus on. And luckily for me, I still have my grandparents around, and this is one of the things that I kind of had to really point out to them, you know, because obviously, you know, the elder generation, there's a lot of programming, but
Yeah.
luckily I was able to show them. And not only that, all this information is also coming up now. Like, we're living in an era where there are changes that are being made, and not just in nutrition and food and the food industry. And it's just a beautiful thing. I'm so happy that all of this is happening, but it
Hmm.
takes a lot of years. It takes a lot to undo all that conditioning. And I feel like the whole glass and plastic thing, that's one of them. So pro
Yeah.
tip, I will say store food and water in glass or stainless steel, and this will reduce the toxin load. and help protect your hormones. Because like I just said, the little black containers, the ketchup bottles, all of that contains the BPAs and the phthalates that are just there lingering and leaching onto your food and whatever it is that you eat or drink. And ultimately you're ingesting all of that. So you don't want to do that. But switching to glass jars, glass bottles, and containers is a small step. It's a small, simple step that you can do, and it will have long-term benefits in your health. I promise you. Benefits for fertility, which I just told you a little while ago, is infertility is a big thing nowadays. Very unfortunate, but it is. Our hormones are being attacked every which way we look. You know, our hormone health, it helps, the glass helps with, helps to kind of secure or help your detox pathways. You know, it doesn't really put your body on such a bad state, I guess you can say. Or
it doesn't give it doesn't stress it as much.
Exactly.
It does. It doesn't stress the body as much.
Right.
With
exactly.
With glass. So glass is definitely the better option. Glass is definitely the better option. For those that, you know, again, we've been thoroughly conditioned that if it's in plastic, fine. If you could put it in the microwave, fine. Like you said, the microwave in itself is doing damage to the food. But now that you have not only the plastic, but like you said, the chemistry that's leaching and attaching to the food, it binds to it. It binds to the food. It binds to the food. So the moment that you eat it and your body absorbs it or tries to absorb it, and then your body's like, what the hell is this? I can't absorb this, you know, and the body doesn't know what to do with plastic. The body doesn't know what to do with plastic. So it's just kind of sits there and sticks to you, and it just remains in limbo until you finally clear it out. You know, maybe some sort of cleanse to kind of get all this stuff out of your system. Drinking water is important as well to kind of flush all this stuff out.
Sweating as well.
Sweating, yes. Perspiration, yes. Getting all this stuff out of your system. If you have access to a sauna, or just again getting out into the sun, you know, exercising, going for a walk out in the sunlight, where you kind of work up a small perspiration to where you're literally sweating and you see the perspiration through your pores, and all of it helps. All of it helps.
Most definitely. It's the small little habits, because this is another thing. Obviously, there's a lot of things that work against us in today's day and age, right? So you don't want to overwhelm yourself by just trying to do everything all at once.
That's right.
You have to start little by little. You know, one day you switch your eating habits, and then that'll maybe last you a week. The next week, maybe you switch your containers, and you know, so on and so forth. But if you're trying to do everything all at once, you will get overwhelmed. You will not want to. You'll start to kind of resent it and dread it, and you don't want to do that, because at the end of the day, you are worth it. This is your health, and let me just say that when you don't have optimal health, nothing else really matters, really. And I witnessed this myself, because like I was telling you earlier when we first started this segment, it was a big reality check for me, especially because I couldn't even report to work at one point in my life. You know, so my health really became a priority for me. And it had to be. I had to make changes in my life, whether I wanted to or not, because there was no way that I was going to be able to, you know, live like that. So, like I said, it's a very interesting thing. That's for sure.
Yeah, it definitely is. And as we segue, we're going to switch gears just for a minute, actually for a few minutes. We're going to switch gears because I'm going to put this up on the screen here. We're going to go back to the screen. So I'm going to make sure I get this right. because you have a passion for the bees, because you are a certified beekeeper, or what's called an uh, an apiary, or that's the
An
name of
apiarist.
apiary. Yeah, apiarist. Yeah, there you go. I had to look that word up last night. I'm like, what the hell is this? So yes, um, apiary or apiarist, and which translates into um, taking care of bees in an environment where bees can flourish and create their honey. So I'm going to put this up here. I think I think I sent you this here. Um, I think I sent you this here. Yeah, I sent you this here. Um, as you can see, you have the bees here on the cannabis plant for cannabis honey. So
Right.
since we have that, and for everyone that believes that cannabis is so horrible, nature tells us that it's one of the greatest things on the planet. As we can see right here, the bees are loving it. So as I take this down here, I'm gonna put this on the screen. Actually, I'm gonna put this on the screen here. Uh, this is something that I recorded myself. Here we go. So I'm going to put this up on the screen here. This is something that I recorded, and this is back in 2019. So I'm going to put this up here. As you can see, the bee right here, and this is in slow motion. As you can see, the bee going after the bee pollen, and this is from the the male cannabis plant. As you saw, the cannabis, the pollen kind of fall from the pollen sac, and the bee right there has looks like some white powder on its legs there. And then we go to this one right here, and here's one of the bees right here. We go to this. As you can see, as intelligent as the bees are, there they are grabbing some more of the pollen so they can take it back to their respective uh, honeycomb, if you will. So as we see this, and uh, I kind of type something here, and I'll just put this up and then I'll close it. Here, and as you can see, this is from 2019. I posted this. So it says, no human being can convince the honeybee, as I'm hearing some feedback in the background, no human being can convince the honeybee that it can't fly due to its wing to body proportions. And no person, physician, scientist, institution, advertisement, campaign, news media, or PSA can convince the honeybee to stay away from cannabis as a product of nature, as nature only knows the vibration of purity. Man knows the vibration of tampering with nature's purity,
Yep.
as no insect, slug, or caterpillar with any dignity would ever go near any plant, vegetation, or herb that is not of nature or has been sprayed with man's unnatural chemicals. Observe and learn, as we just looked at the honeybee doing what it does in nature. So, can you tell us and go over uh, why you have developed such the passion for not only bees, but as a beekeeper, what do we need to know about the how the bees um, perpetuate the eco food system?
So I got into beekeeping when I moved out of a big city. I used to live in Miami. I am originally from Miami, and I moved to Southwest Florida. I developed a love for the bees because it helped to bring me to a state of like balance. I started watching the videos with my brother. Actually, he was the one that mainly got me into it, to be honest.
Okay.
He started to show me some videos of a woman, a beekeeper from Texas. She works for Texas Bee Works, and she's gotten so popular on both TikTok and Instagram. I believe she has like about 2 million followers now. And she's been on Joe Rogan's show. She's wonderful, really. But I remember I used to watch her show, her segments, and they were she was always so calm, and it was just like such a beautiful energy all around. And then I started to research bees, and I realized that, obviously honey is a very high spiritual food. Like, not even to mention that it was mentioned in the Bible about 60 something times, I think 61 to be exact. And it was also metaphorically used from time to time for God's word in the Bible. So I thought to myself, okay, there's obviously something here. And I started to research it. It's a symbol of community. It's a symbol of abundance, wealth, blessings, natural nourishment, healing. I will say though, I also got into it because, like I said, I was watching Texas Bee Works videos, and she also does bee removals, which people pay top dollar for them sometimes because many people are allergic or they're afraid, right?
Yeah.
They can pretty much create a hive, and they follow their queen anywhere she goes. So if that's in a tree, or if that's in like a shed, anywhere it is, they will follow her and they will go there. So I started to watch her videos when she would do the removals, and then how she would just do it without gear. And I was like, that's very interesting. Like, obviously she's energetically either a very high vibrational woman, or, is on a different level of consciousness if they don't even bite her like that. So I always thought that was extremely interesting. And my brother and I were like, let's get a hive when we moved over here. And I told him, sure. So I actually have 2 beehives now. And it's like shoes. Honestly, if you're a woman, you just can't help but get more.
Right.
It's very beautiful. And historically, it was used in a lot of sacred rituals. It was used as medicine. I'm talking about honey. And let's not forget too, bees are healers. Bees are pollinators of life. And I'm not going to lie, every time I have to inspect my hive, I have such a beautiful mood for the rest of the day. Like, I feel so connected and lighthearted and calm. And it's their frequency, the buzz is foundational, really. So like I said, though, bees are healers. They are the pollinators of life. If you like food as much as I do, hence why I got into nutrition, then I will say you also need to love bees. About 40% of the food on our planet comes from our precious pollinators. So we need bees. Save the bees.
Right.
I will also say honey is sacred medicine. It's not just a sweetener. It's antimicrobial, antiseptic, helps with wounds. It helps seasonal allergies. It's been proven to help with seasonal allergies. And it's also a prebiotic. So modern use, I've seen people use it from everything for sleep, for energy, for gut support, for immunity, for blood sugar regulation, for skincare. I'm actually not sure if you've also heard of bee venom therapy. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
So you use the stinger to sting certain parts of your body, and that's supposed to bring healing to things like arthritis, things like acne. I actually follow a beekeeper in California. She uses it for like lip injections, interestingly enough.
Wow. Okay.
And she has a couple more hives than I do. She and I have actually spoken.
Yeah.
And she has about 3 hives, yes. But very beautiful. She actually specializes also in bee venom therapy, which I've been trying to get into, but I have to do a little more research on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but like I said, spiritually, honey is a very high vibrational, high frequency food. It's been used historically in rituals as medicine, you name it. And
Mm-hmm.
just a symbol for abundance, for community, wealth, love, blessings. And I've seen my bees do some pretty remarkable stuff. Really, it's really beautiful. Seriously.
Well, when I did that video, that was kind of spontaneous. I didn't know that that was going to happen. I just went over there because I grow cannabis, and I just happened to see some of the bees over there, and I'm like, let me record this. And that's what occurred. And I've
I love
always,
it.
I've always kept that because I thought it was just fascinating that, that the bees, or I've seen all types of insects from ladybugs to uh, caterpillars and all kind of insects and other animals, um, insect insect animals. But I've seen them all kind of embrace not only cannabis but other plants that I've grown, lettuce and other things that I've grown here in the backyard. But I've always been fascinated by the bees and the fact that not only the honeybee, but even the bumblebee, with its body weight in comparison to its wingspan, and how it flies anyway, you know, regardless, because nobody can tell the bee that, like I just read, no one can tell the bee that you can't fly because your wings are too small to hold up your body weight, you know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, and I have my honey here because I do. I've always loved to eat honey. I use it to cook, or I'll eat it raw like I have right here. And it is great. Honey's great, and honey is often overlooked as a it's often overlooked as a true health remedy, and whether it's now honey, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Honey is not all created equal. When you go to the store and purchase your honey, they're not all the same. Can you kind of distinguish the differences between raw honey and heavily processed honey?
Okay, so you said it right there. Heavily processed. What does that mean? For the most part, it's heated or it's cut with syrups. So what does that do? That kills the enzymes in it, the good bacteria, that kills the micronutrients that it has.
Mm-hmm.
So always look for raw, unfiltered, unheated honey, which does contain enzymes, pollen, propolis. Propolis is like a type of resin which they actually need. Like I remember in my hive, I used to scrape it off, and my mentor one day was like, "Don't do that. They need it." So I obviously
Yeah,
stopped. But
yeah,
yeah, definitely the raw, unfiltered honey contains minerals, vitamins, enzymes, pretty much the stuff that your gut needs, really, going back to the gut,
right.
right?
Yes,
So
yes.
I will say though, like you said, and like I just said too, processed. So often cut with syrups, and it's usually heated. So what it really comes down to is commercialized beekeeping, right? And more traditional beekeeping. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
commercialized beekeeping is just like a factory. They don't really care. It is what it is kind of energy. Whereas for your traditional or non commercialized beekeeping or beekeepers are more careful, more intentional with their energy and with how they treat their bees. So I believe that that's where my brother and I are at with it, with the traditional, non-commercialized aspect of it. So
Yeah.
definitely remember, yes, not all honey is created the same. Always know your source, know your apiarist, and definitely do your research on the farm or whoever it is that you purchase it from, for sure.
Right. So it would be better. So as a suggestion to everyone watching or listening, it would be better suggested to purchase honey where you know it's coming from somewhere local, one of your local honey farms, if you will,
Right.
uh, to where it doesn't have to have a long shipping time. I mean, you can go straight from hive to to eating it directly from the hive. Now, can you eat honey directly from the hive? Is that recommended?
I have actually had pieces of honeycomb that I have to, move out. And yes, obviously, when I first started, I would just kind of grab it and like chew on it a little bit just to see what it would taste. And obviously, it has a lot to do with what is in season.
Yeah, yeah,
So sometimes it tastes more smoky. Sometimes it tastes more flowery. Because I also have a bee smoker. You do need that because that actually kind of helps them not be able to communicate with each other, right?
yeah.
So
I've seen that. Yeah, I've
I
seen that.
have to smoke them sometimes when they start getting a little rowdy,
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
if I
yeah.
sit there too long because they don't like when I'm in the hive for too long. I basically have to do it in 15 minutes, be in and out.
Mhm, mhm,
But it's
mhm.
great because it does get hot with the beekeeping suit. So I'm okay with the 15 minutes, It gets definitely really, really hot over here in South Florida.
Yeah,
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so yeah, definitely very, very rewarding. And I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel that I'm doing something good for the planet. And like I said, every time I interact with them, I feel so I feel so connected to both the earth and the heavens. And I have this beautiful mood for the rest of the day. I do strongly believe that it has a lot to do with the vibration of the bees and their buzz and the healing energy that they have. So it's really quite remarkable if you ask me.
Mhm. Yeah, we don't really realize how important the bees are for pollination of different plants and herbs and certain vegetables. Um, again, things that are overlooked when it comes to the food chain, and things that we kind of take for granted. Are you used to the bee stings, or have you kind of developed a tolerance for that, or do you get stung having your suit on?
So I've been doing it for over a year already, and I've only gotten stung twice,
Okay.
surprisingly so. And
Okay.
actually, that day, both of them were on the same day. So it was
Okay.
only once, if you really ask me, one day.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but yes, I got one on my thigh, and then I got one right over here, right under my chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of hurt. It
Right.
definitely hurt. Um, but like I said, it's not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
have some homeopathic remedies that I use for myself and my family. Obviously, me being a holistic health practitioner, I try to help and have everyone and their health in top notch. So yeah, I just had like a little spray. I sprayed it there, and the only thing was that it became like hard. Like it became like it did get inflamed, obviously, but it was like a ball. However,
Yeah.
the itching had 100% stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was wonderful. But again, only lasted a few days, and like I said, there's people out here that use bee venom therapy. Like they literally pay to get stung. So like I said, if anything, I'm privileged, right?
Yeah. 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 My daughter showed me a guy. He some guy on YouTube, and he got one of these exotic ants and forced it to sting so he could see what impact the venom had on the body. And his whole forearm just turned like beet red. Um, you know, again, people get paid to do this kind of stuff.
Yep.
People get paid to get stung by certain wasps from all over the world, and certain bees or ants. Ants have these little things that bite the crap out of you.
Oh yeah.
And these giant ants, not those little ants that you see at the at the park or somewhere. These big ants that you find over on the other side of the planet. And so, yeah, there are people that go that route. And but the body is so amazing that it gathers all of its immune support, so you don't pass away from this sting. That's how magical the body is. It'll keep you alive at all costs, no matter what the severity is. you know
It is. It's
um,
beautiful. Just think about how many systems have to kickstart in order for you to wake up every morning. You
mm-hmm,
know, it's
mm-hmm,
it's truly a blessing to even
mm-hmm.
be alive, and to
Yeah,
even be here during this time where, like I said, all of this information is coming to light. There's people like Bonnie Harry that are doing all of these remarkable things for the human collective, and it's just it's very beautiful, very
yeah,
transformative, and I'm just so happy to be here, right here and right now.
yeah. Because we live in a social media era, we do have more access to information, um, and we have access to more accurate information as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been kind of duped for so many decades and so many generations when it comes to how we can create better health for ourselves. And so, yeah, we definitely can take advantage of the information that is available to us. Before we begin to wrap up here, I'm going to bring this back to the table
Yeah.
because you mentioned this earlier. I just want to go back here just for a minute. I've never been a big fan of the walnut. um, I remember my mom has always been a fan. She used to buy walnuts, and she used to have this nutcracker, and she used to crack them. She used to crack them open and eat them. And she would eat black walnut ice cream and all this stuff. But
Nice.
but now that I'm older, I'm not really the walnut fan. I'm more of a cashew and almond person myself. But
Okay.
but at
Nice.
but at the same time, walnut, as you can see here, it does mimic the brain, and the walnut is actually great brain food. So real quick, can you just go over some general benefits of how we can maintain a healthy brain?
Okay, so I feel like this is often, I feel like there's a lot of people that either don't know this or they forget it, but brain health, or I'm sorry, mental health equals brain health,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And your brain needs fat, but it also needs water, which is interesting because you had also mentioned earlier, you said that dehydration is a big issue nowadays, and
Yeah,
it really is.
yes. Yep.
So actually nuts, walnuts to be exact, are have a very high healthy fat content, which is essential for our cognitive health, for our brain health.
Mm-hmm.
um and it's not just walnuts, it's a lot of nuts and seeds, actually, if you ask me. So
Mm-hmm.
i
Mm-hmm.
I always like to say the body is a very miraculous, it's a miraculous symphony of biochemical function. um we're blessed to be here during this time, but we also have to give ourselves the right nourishment, the right education, and the right circumstances in order to thrive. So
Mm-hmm.
um like I said, everyone's always ranting about mental health, but no one really realizes that mental health is brain health.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's rather interesting because, you know, like what we were talking about earlier, we live in a world where, um, you know, you got to eat your food in the car and you got to be in a rush all the time and high levels of stress and this and that. And it's really quite unfortunate, but sometimes it's okay to take a moment and pause and breathe and just, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
recollect yourself or
Mm-hmm.
reflect. And like I said, the when it comes to walnuts, when it comes to the healthy fats, it is essential for our brain. Same thing with cholesterol. No one really talks about the fact that there's two types of cholesterols. A lot of medical doctors will look at your lab work and be like, or think, oh, your cholesterol's high, and it's like, okay, but which one? You know,
Ah,
there's
right.
two, and they both mean two different things.
Yep.
Um, and that's not even to mention that in conventional medicine, the markers are very different from that of functional medicine. So that's also another thing that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, just brain health is very important. Things like blueberries um, actually help kind of like remove toxins and help flush toxins out from the blood-brain barrier. So
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, definitely. But brain health is or mental health is brain health. So just know.
Yeah, mental health is brain health. And you're right. Everything about the body is like a symphony. It's like a dance. It's like a waltz. You know, one follows the other one's lead, and vice versa. It's a synergy. You know, it's a synergy.
Works
Every
synergistically.
That's right. Everything in the body works in harmony when you give it the right elements. And speaking of that, as I'm going to put this up on the screen again because you mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm going to go here now, and you can kind of walk us through this here. Now, tell us what we're looking at here because you said this is your kind of your daily routine. So, what are we looking at here?
Okay, so yes, this was actually because someone had asked me on TikTok what my supplementation looked like. So my morning non-negotiables, yes, things that I cannot live without, things that I do every single morning. Like I told you, the warm water with lemon. Sometimes I add a pinch of salt for extra hydration. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I even have a binder to help kind of detox the heavy metals and all that. And then my coffee with my collagen, my breakfast, nutrient dense, high protein, sea moss.
Sea moss, yeah, yeah.
I actually make my sea moss. I haven't made some in a while, but I will definitely get back into it. I have to. I love it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
My
one of the hidden treasures of health, sea
Yep,
moss.
yep,
Uh,
exactly. It's funny because my bioenergetic scan,
yeah,
she legit.
she
Yeah,
legit. Yeah, yeah, she legit.
my bio.
Which is another new treasure that's come to the forefront.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's I've seen studies that even can help alleviate and cure jet lag. So for people
Mm.
that are like the wealthy that are always traveling and stuff like that, essential, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's my bees.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, okay, yeah, you know, again, it's about practicing what you preach and preaching what you practice. And I'm glad the fact that you do have something that is working for you, that works for you. Because like you said, everyone's different in their approach to health. I mean, fundamentally, the body functions the same for all of us. We all have a heartbeat. We all have lungs that breathe in and out. We all blink. You know, we can breathe in through our nose. All these things fundamentally, but then as you go deeper into the specific consciousness of the person, then that's when we have our slight differences that make us who we are. And so you go through a process to where you can develop better health from all the stuff that we've been discussing here today. So, and with that, I'm going to go here and I'm going to put this on the screen here because you have a new podcast that you have. So,
Yes.
so it's called the Health Honey Podcast.
Oh yeah.
So the Honey Health Podcast. So why did you create that, and what are we looking forward to as we listen to you on your podcast?
So I'm going to be honest with you, Kenan. One of my affirmations every day is that I have knowledge that is worth a lot of money. And I find that, like I told you, we live in a world where there's a lot of misinformation. They don't want us to really know the truth about who we are as celestial beings. And I think it's important to show people the truth of who we are and to just make that education and that information known and available to the people. I think it's very valuable information, and I've had people that tell me, wow, I never looked at it like that. That's so true. Or you
Mm-hmm.
just kickstarted something in me that, girl, has taken me to a completely different level. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's stuff
Yeah.
like that I live for, because it shows you that you really are inspiring people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I always tell, sometimes people like also more of a personalized approach. Like, they like to know what happened to you, you know? Because sometimes people have you can have all the information and all the resources, and you won't be ready until you hear someone's transformation, and then that can spark some sort of motivation or some type of inspiration within you, some type of drive.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had that happen to me too. So why not, if I have the information, be able to make it available to people and help them with their health? Like, the other day, I actually made a podcast about the difference between 3D nutrition and 5D nutrition. Obviously, in 3D nutrition, you're seeing your body as a machine, whereas in 5D nutrition, you're seeing your body more as a part of nature, and you're eating seasonally, and you're in flow with the divine, and you're eating from the earth and things like that. Whereas in 3D nutrition, you're just, you know, counting your macros, counting your calories. You're just looking at it as a number. And it's so much more than that. Sometimes that whole, like I told you earlier, that whole restriction causes more damage than it does good. And actually, like I told you before too, it was something I had to learn myself,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I did not have a very healthy relationship with food. So why not? Why not? If I have the information, why not put it out there?
Yeah.
Whoever needs it will use it. And I'm here to help those that want to be helped. And it's truly as simple as that. And I love what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great. As I have my Sheila Jeet here as well.
Love it.
Yeah. So as we get ready to, I'm going to ask you just a couple of more things. I want to bring this last thing up here because I thought this was really interesting. It reminded me of everything that I've learned in my holistic psychology course, and it's this right here. This. Um, I saw this here. Now, can you briefly just touch on the power of writing down your either your goals that you want to set for yourself or something that you want to accomplish, and the power in repetition, as I see this same statement in my practice. We call it conditioning statements. Writing the same statement down over and over and over again. Uh, what impact does that have on not only the brain but on your overall daily activity as it relates to going after your goals or dreams, if you will.
So I'm not sure if you've heard of neuroplasticity, but
Yeah.
it kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah.
However, I will say, Kenan, I did not write that. That was a post at an
Yeah.
art
Yeah. Yeah.
gallery
Yeah.
that I took a picture of, and I thought it was beautiful, really, because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
exactly how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know that the body works as one. Like I told you, it's a symphony, and we said that it works synergistically, right? So your arms, everything is connected to your heart, right? Mind, body, and spirit. And the whenever you write something, think of it as like a, how can I say this? The brain the brain has grooves, right? Think of every time you make that statement as making a deeper groove.
Yeah.
But however, the brain is highly adaptable. And I always say this, uh, reality check, good news, the brain is highly adaptable. Bad news, the brain is highly adaptable. So you can feed it good stuff.
Yep.
Seriously, you can feed it
Oh
good
yeah.
stuff, or you can feed it negativity and stress and toxic relationships. So whatever you give it is what it will know. Um, and if you reprogram your mind in that way, like I said, your everything is connected to your heart, right? The heart is basically at the center of what we are. What are we as human beings? Divine love,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
truthfully. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important to know that when we have our emotions and our thoughts and our feelings, and we write things like that, we're almost conditioning our body in a positive stimulus. Now, our brain is actually more conditioned to a negative stimulus than a positive one. Quite unfortunate, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but that is the world that we live in, unfortunately. So I'm glad that you saw that post and that it made such an impact in you, that you added it to this, because I love it. That's something that I find is very important. Same thing with not all thoughts are true. You know, we obviously, there's times that we may feed each other negative things, or we may think the first negative thing that comes to mind, and it's like, sit back, reflect, and say to yourself, is this really true? No, it is not. Especially when it's something negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, you don't want to be giving yourself negativity when you're trying to thrive. Aren't we all? We're trying to live our best life and, you know, be wealthy and just live a purposeful, healthy life. So yeah, like I said, it comes back to neuroplasticity, reprogramming the mind. I don't know if you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I follow his research. I follow his meditation. I actually did one of his meditations today again for the first time in a while. And I forgot how much I loved it, because he really knows how to set the stage in order for you to feel oneness and wholeness. And that, like I said, is at the center of who we truly are as divine beings. Remember, we are, we're not um we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to know that yes, the brain is highly adaptable, but you can also feed it good stuff, healthy, nourishing, loving thoughts. If your mind, I actually made my first video in Spanish, because Spanish is actually my first language. My first video in Spanish not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, was about that. If your mindset is zero amorous, zero constructive, but you're eating all the matcha and sourdough in the world, you're not really going to get anywhere. You need to have a healthy, loving, and constructive mindset for you to be able to thrive in this life. Because, like I've mentioned before, we already live in a world where there's a lot of negativity that's bombarding us, distorting our field, distorting our auric field. So it's important to be able to bring ourselves back to the center and be like, okay, this is what I got to do, and this is who I am really. So
Yeah. Yeah. I first saw Dr. Dispenza, oh gosh, about 15 years ago now. He was in a documentary called What the Bleep Do We Know from, oh gosh, I think it was from 2004, 2005. And I got to see his perspective because he started as a chiropractor and just went deep diving into the neurological aspect of human behaviors, and yeah, some really interesting insight on, like you said, the brain heart gut connection and how they're all related to each other and they all interface in harmony with each other. And as far as those statements are concerned, it's almost like when you write statements like that, it's almost uh, like tattooing these statements on your brain,
Like I said,
creating
a groove. Yep.
creating deeper nerve grooves, or what we call neural pathways.
Mm-hmm.
So that specific energy can enter enter and connect or interface with other neurons in the brain that relate.
Yep.
And
Most of
so once you develop, because all of us have the capability to develop better or more powerful neural connections. And so once you do that, change happens. And the brain and mind doesn't care what you feed it. It's like a computer. Whether you feed it positive or not so positive, it's going to respond.
and believe it. Yep.
Right. That's right.
Yep.
It's going to respond. Uh, as we wrap up, Valerie, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to grace the stage with me here on the Kinetic Hour. Uh, Tell everyone where we can find you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. You guys can find me on my personal Instagram, which is at V as in Valerie, 2 underscores, and then CABRERA. So that's my last name, V __ Cabrera. And then my business my business Instagram is at the Goddesses of Healing.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, I know it's under construction, but talk about your website real quick.
Yes, I've had it in the process of being revamped for a while now. I'm actually looking for someone to help me out with that. So if anyone on here specializes in that, I would highly appreciate it. But yes, my website contains everything from blogs to auric cleansing, which has to do with my quantum biofeedback or bioresonance, bioenergetics page and sessions, and then pretty much energy healing, and I do functional testing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it right there.
Yeah, and and even before you kind of revamp it, I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that people can kind of check out right now with that. And check out Valerie; she's always putting up some great information. Final question for you, and I like to ask all my guests this final question here: what does life mean to you?
Living in oneness and wholeness with both the earth and the divine, and guiding ourselves back home, remembering our essence. Definitely. Yep.
Our essence, yeah, because we are an essence. We are the light, and we are love as well. We're all of it. We're like the cosmos, all wrapped up into this here. For the
As
time,
above, so below.
as above, so below. Right. Uh, so within, so without.
Yep.
And so I just want to thank you for, and check out Valerie. She's go to her Instagram pages, a lot of vital and valuable information. And come back to the Kinetic Hour because there's so much more that we can touch on,
Oh yeah.
that we just kind of scratch the surface. So come back later down the road, and we can do it again and go even more deep diving into the brain, and more foods that can feed the brain and have it function just a little bit better. So yeah, absolutely. And thank you again. Can't thank you enough. It was great and always a pleasure to correspond with you on these matters. We kind of parallel on how we look at health matters, especially with food dyes and all the processed stuff. Um, I'll be honest, I've never been so perfect with my dietary habits, but at the same time, I know enough after 2 decades, I know enough to know what my threshold is and know when I need to uh, either do cleanses or pull back on certain foods and eat food that's in season. Like right now, um, I'm eating seeded watermelon, and this time of the year is the only time that I eat watermelon because
Gotcha.
because because I don't eat the seedless watermelons that people can purchase in the store throughout the year.
Good.
Um, Only seeded watermelons for me during the late spring and summer months. So people need to keep that in mind because, again, the food is manipulated, and we need to definitely have our eyes open a little bit more to the things that we ingest and the effect that it has on us, the effects that it have on us physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically, because it affects all of it. It
Oh
affects
yeah.
all of it. It affects all of it.
I was
So
gonna say
thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that it affects our brain's chemistry. So it's definitely important to take that into account. But you also don't want to like entirely restrict yourself. Like you said earlier, the 80-20 is fine. It's not that you're never going to be able to have certain foods again. It's just you got to prime your gut. And up until then, sacrifice a little bit, try to stay away from certain things. And then once you get that in order, you can start having them again. But either
Yeah,
way, you won't be having them all the time, every time. So
that's
balance.
right.
Balance is needed.
Right. Yeah. Find the balance that works for you as an individual, and then take it from there, and learn your body. Learn your body. Listen to your body. Um, be more self-aware to the signals and the symptoms so they can be corrected. The body gives us signals or symptoms like how the oil light comes on in your car or the check engine light.
The check engine light. I
Ah,
love it.
yeah. So we need to be more aware of all of that. So we'll go deep diving into that next time. Valerie, thank you so much for coming on the Kinetic Hour. And to everyone listening and tuning in, there's 1,000 podcasts that you can be listening to. So thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. Check out Valerie and her podcast, the Health Honey Podcast. The Health Honey Podcast, which is great. I love the title. The Health Honey Podcast. Check her out on her Instagram page. And to everyone listening and watching, until next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Kenan. This was beautiful, very truly wonderful, and I had such a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much.